Am I online? I can't see no movement on my computer here. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Live on 9 minutes. What's going on? All right. It's working. Okay, perfect. It's working. Sorry about all this misunderstanding, guys. Let me say hello to people. I think I'm 1 minute delay. All right, cool. Hi. Today topic is black and gray. Cool. It is working. Perfect. Let me put the volume down on the other stuff there. So, my friends, I don't know who's watching. Alexander, yo, brother, what's going on, brother? What's going on? It looks like there's not many people watching, but that's okay because we're gonna be doing this black and gray session today. Haven't been doing one of them in a while. Oh, it's like nearly 2-3 weeks now. Anyway, let me get my fucking, what's this? Prosecco. It's never too late or too early for a glass of Prosecco. On my coffee, on my smoke, all the bad habits, dirty habits. But anyway, black and gray, we're gonna talk about today black and gray. I had somebody ask me about what needles I use for black and gray and what inks. Well, everything is important. Sounds dope? Bang, brother. Everything is important, man. Everything is important. What I'm saying, everything is important. The inks and the needles for smooth black and gray. Well, somebody asked me about how can I get a smooth black and gray. Never too late, brother. Well, how can I get a smooth black and gray? Well, first of all is the speed of the machine and the size of the needle. You can see like super big, super smooth, big pieces done. Because they use a big needle, probably like 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, so on. That could be a good reason. And the inks, some of the inks, they're darker than other, the faster than other, I would say. And when it comes to that, that's important. It's very hard to do a transition, let's say, with turbo black ink. Let me put my camera turbo black down. Cool. So, transition with black and gray, with super dark ink, if you want to, let's say, you can dip it in the water, because the dark ink it's a lot stickier. You may get a transition, that's of course, but the black and gray generally is used with the lighter inks, right? I mean, that's why it's black and it's gray. Now, when it comes to gray, there's different shades. I have a set from Victor Portugal, but there's different ways to do black and gray, and there's different techniques. We're gonna talk about it, and let's get into it. Cool. Inks, my friends, inks. Well, I just got this set from Victor Portugal. And I got the inks from Radiant, so later on we're gonna talk about the next step for the next raffle. I have to announce it tomorrow. I'll say exactly what inks I have. They sent me a bunch of inks, small cups, small traveling sets, but they're not full sets. So I think it's 2 full sets altogether. By the way, they send them in the bags, so there's not even like a full set. I'm not gonna go through them. So that'd be very weird to see how we're gonna split them or who's gonna get what and how, and that confused me for last few days. How am I gonna do this? But that's a different story. We're gonna talk about that one later. So now we're gonna talk about black and gray with wine. Talking about black and gray, people do mix to do black and gray. Those glasses, oh man. Sorry to hear that, brother. Anyway, black and gray. Different types of black and gray. So this one is a set. It's a full set. It comes from Victor, Portugal. What I'm saying, showing you is, it says here V1. So that's the darkest. See, can you see it here? So that's V1. So that's the darkest point. Hold on. Let me start with the black. This is lining black. I never actually use it. I used to, where it says lining black, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, lining black. So you have lining black. I never really use it, so I don't know what to say about it. But we'll try it now because I have a test here. That's for testing the inks. So it doesn't dark the lining. You have the V1, V2. Where is the V2? Right here. V3 right here, V4 right here. So they come in a set. Generally, you need four types of shading. That's in general. But what you do, you have the ink cups here. Whomp. So let's say that's the ink cups. Now that's gonna be your black. Which black is the most black out there? I don't know, man. I think that it's all relevant when it comes to which black is the most black out there. Let me put my face into the thing here. The most black out there. Super black from INKS. I think it's super dark. But in general, I use the tribal black from Radiant series. I use turbo black. I think it's really, really dark, and I use tribal black, but that's because I use the Radiant. I mean, I really love them. I use them for a while now, so I kind of get used to work with them. But the darkest black out there, I don't know, man. I mean, you can mix your own. You can mix your own and make it. Let's say, for instance, if you tattoo dark skin, you put a drop of indigo, dark purple, super dark purple. Just drop of it in your black, you mix it, and that's gonna give a nice shiny layer. So that's generally what you do for dark skin. It helps, but we're gonna get into that. So the darkest black out there, I have no idea. I think that when it comes to black, depends how you push it in the skin. And of course, some brands stay better on the skin. Probably the type of the skin. They're all I use. I mean, again, lately I use only this brand, so I don't really know what's out there generally. But I know super black is super black, and you have, what's that one? The dynamic. I don't know how dark is that one. I see people working with it, and actually a lot of friends, they work with it, but I cannot tell you. So black. That's your black right there. Let's say turbo black, right? TB turbo black. Then you have your lining. Then you have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 shading. It's all them here, and then you can have a glass of water, like this is gonna be water, and then what you do, you dip a little bit in this. So basically, when you wash your needle, just wash it in here. So that's gonna give you another percentage or lighter than them, right? Or if you really want to premix it, then what you can do, you can put a drop of 4, let's say, number 4. I'm gonna go through all of them. What percentage, what light and dark percentage are is. So you put water here, you put a drop, and then it's gonna get really, really light. And that one usually is used if you wanna do like super smooth transition on a portrait, or like even background, like super smoky outside, like kind of just gives a little bit of gray, but it's not. It's kind of only there, and that shows a little bit of a dimension. Pretty much that's all I use it for. Generally fades, it's supposed to fade away, and then time will show a little bit more. So basically, if you use a drop from, let's say 2 drops from 4 with water, that one is gonna give you a super light, so definitely is darker than your skin if you tattoo on super white skin, let's say, right? So you still have a nice transition. You can put like to just give a effect of depth, right? Like dimension. and it's used for portraits, for so on, so on. Anyway, so this is the basics though, that you have the black lining and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is when it comes already pre-mixed. So when I said that pre-mixed, it's already, you don't have to get confused with how dark or how light. The more you work with the inks, the more you understand how they work. And it's simple like that, right? They just, guys, they're coming up and down. Anyway, now that's with this technique. There's another technique what you do. Again, you have ink cups here, right? So you have the ink cups right there. Okay, cool. Is that working? Is that working? Let me see, let me see, let me see. For black and gray wash, dynamic, for black and gray wash. Okay. It's working, perfect. We back on business, my ninjas. Let me see, it's working. Okay, cool, let me put the volume down on that one. Anyway, cool, we back in business, So, cool, we're gonna go back to questions soon. Let's go on this one. So the other technique is this. You put the black here, right? That's your black, that's the black is black. Try to use bigger inks, bigger ink cups. There's different sizes, so try to use different ones, different sizes here. But so what you do here, for instance, so this is already pre-mixed, right? The top part, that's the set. Let's say there's out there the companies, they sell sets, so you're cool with that. If you wanna do your own black and gray, hold on a second. So if you wanna do your own black and gray, you have to be very precise of whatever the technique you're gonna use for mixing your own black and gray. You always has to work the same. What happened is, for instance, right, on the first scope here, on the first cup, you're gonna put, let's say, 10 drops, right? 10 drops of black, and whatever is left, you put, if you use the equal cups, right? Or whatever it is you're gonna do, 10 drops of black, right? Or let's say 15 actually, you need 15. On that one is gonna be 10, and that one is gonna be 5, and the other one is gonna be, let's say, 3, and then 1, for instance, right? So that, you do the black, you do on this technique here. So, but you always have to mix the same, because if you don't mix the same, over time, so basically it's a pattern. When you start learning the pattern, you always work, so your black and gray always gonna be consistent the same way. Otherwise, you'll end up tattooing, let's say for instance, you work on a piece, and next time the guy, on a piece in multiple sessions, then the next time the guy comes back, and you don't mix exactly the same, the inks, you're gonna end up with different tones of shading. So that's why the pre-mix one, it's already safe. Let's say, the other ones, if you keep mixing the same way every single sessions you work, every single time, pretty much the basics are the same, right? Now that's another thing. The other technique is, you get bang, 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 cups, black. The other one you put, let's say, 3/4 stop, right? The other one half, the other one quarter, the other one, sorry, hold on a second. This technique, I saw my friend working with it. Hold on, let's go back. You fill them up, right? What up, bro? So you fill them up. Then you have a glass of water here. So what do you do with this? For instance, you dip in black, then you dip in water. So every time you dip in and out, you run the machine. So let's say if I dip in black, right? I want to thin it down to 50%, let's say. So that's pitch black, all of them are pitch black. This technique is weird. I saw this guy, George Perham, he works with this technique, and it's fucking weird. I think it's weird in a way because, let me show you. So you put black. You wanna dilute this black. So basically everything starts to dark to light in general. In general, that's how you tattoo. Let's say you want to tattoo from light to dark. This technique is very weird because you dip in black. You want a 50%, you dip once it's 25%. You rinse it, then you dip in water again, you run the machine, you dip in water, so that's how you thin out. But on this technique, you have to remember all these things. I mean, obviously, if that's your style, then you're gonna remember because you work with it all the time. But to just suddenly try to do that technique, I wouldn't attempt it, and I attempted once, and it's kind of messy because you have to be very sure how many times you dip in water, how many times. But as you go on here, so basically you dip in water, then you do your shading, then you do darker shading, you dip back here, right? So that's your black. Now suddenly, over a little bit of use, this one becomes thinner because you keep dipping water in and out, right? So this one becomes light. What you do, you move to here. So basically now, this is your black. So this is already the shading. So for instance, I want shading, I'm gonna start moving here and here. If I want darker, I move from this already, which is already, the more you work with this soap, the lighter it gets because you dip in the water. To get darker, you go from this to here. So basically, let's say for instance, that's already like 50% shading, right? So now I want darker, I can still go, now if it's 50%, I know already it's 50%, I dip in the water, that's gonna give me 25, right? I dip once, it's 25%. But if I wanna go to 75, from 50% now, I go to black once, and that's 75. So if I wanna go super dark, let's say I dip here, and then I dip here again. So now you start contaminating this one, but as you go back and forth with them, that becomes lighter eventually, that becomes lighter, and that's your true black in the end. This is very confusing, and why I'm saying this one is very confusing because it's the rule. I don't even know who invented this style or whatever is the purpose, how you work with this. It makes sense, I've seen it work, the guy, that's how it works with, but you always have to kind of play with them between this and this, between this and this, between this and this, this and this. And this is your black. This one, that's the purest black. So when you go with this one, you never contaminate this. This one, when you do either towards the end, when you start sculpting, or you're gonna actually use it if you need to do a line. What you do, you may gonna come here, but if you really want a black line, you clean your needle, you come in and you dry it out, and then you use the black. Otherwise, you just fuck around with them. So basically, the whole thing you play with this is just you have to go back and forth and always remember. And now don't forget, this water is gonna get dark, so this one is gonna get like, you can use that super light gray, and then you need another cup of water to have it clean. Pretty confusing, right? Pretty confusing. Anyway, inks. Brand of inks, again, I don't know, they're changing, and all the time they're changing better and better. I see here that somebody asked me about the dynamic for black and gray wash. I remember the dynamic. I tried once, I bought this dynamic. It seems to be very light. So some inks, okay, what happens with the inks, with the ones I work, is because I work for so long, I know how they heal. I know the process of healing and how long it's gonna heal, how much they're gonna lighten up. Now, when it comes to other brands, I remember when I worked with Dynamic, I think it was Temp, whatever, they were very bright. So whatever you see now here on half here, it drops probably 80%. Whatever the one I work with, I don't know what kind of grade of shading was, but it did lighten up 80%, which is pretty weird. But again, the more you work with them, the more you're gonna understand how to work with them. So you know, let's say if it's even lighten at 80%, then you know you go mad. Like if you want to do a portrait, you just go dark, but you know it's gonna lighten up a lot. So that just depends of everybody's style or everybody knowing their inks. So again, when it comes to inks, try to kind of work with one brand, or that, let's say black and gray, whatever set you have, just work with that brand to understand and to always see how they heal, because that's the most important, right? The most important to know your inks and the machine. Not every machine is good, let's say, for black and gray. I mean, it's simple like that. The speed of the machine, the needles. You have to always understand and remember those settings. All right, that's done for now. Test of black and gray. How do you know black and gray? Well, I'll show you exactly. I'm gonna show a test, and before you work, some people do that. I learned this from, again, working with other people, and I see them, those are brand new, so I need to shake them a little bit. So the way you work, this trick I learned it from somebody, and you can always work. Before you start your session, you can put a drop on the paper. So basically you put the rings here, so you can put a drop on the paper and you're gonna see exactly what I mean. Cool. Hold on a second. Give me, actually you know what? Let me get my small one. Let me get the open ones. 1 second, ninjas. 1 second. Salutico. 1 second. 1 second. So, yes, sir. I'll be back. Whoop-ah. What up, man? Thank you so much. All of them or only this? Thank you. Have a nice, beautiful day. Thank you. Yo, Ninja is back. Got packages. I got myself a monitor. Now, yeah, I just got a big monitor, so it's gonna happen. I'm gonna do, because I was thinking, yeah, Adrian, I was talking how to do with Tony. I was thinking how to do the critiques, so I need monitors. So actually I got a big monitor. I need it for myself, not for the things. But now I'm gonna have a monitor and I'm gonna have, I show you the critiques on the monitor so you all can see. But we're gonna go to that session, not today. Anyway, black and gray, I show the test. So what I do with this, it's simple like that. Let's start with the block here. So this is the same set. The fuck is this one? Lining. I never used that lining thing. Hold on. There you go. Kurosumi, Horoshumi, whatever is this one. Lining. There's different brands of lining. Black. So we start with black. We start with black. We start with black. We start with black. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna put a drop here. Cool. Let me make a bigger drop. Oh, that's a block right there. And I'll show exactly what I mean. Let me put my smoke down. Fucking smoking kills. We all know that. So that's my block right there. Okay, this is a V1. So this is the V1, right? Actually, let me go with the lining. Let me see the lining. The lining, this is the lining. So this is, you have the pitch black one. Let's go lining underneath. So we see the, okay, that's the lining, black lining, and then we go with the V1 underneath. This is a V1. So basically this will be the darker shading from this set, right? But I want to show you a trick which you always can use it. And when I'm saying you can use it, before your session you can actually put down on a piece of paper the same thing. You have your inks, and in front of each ink you put a drop on a tissue. Because I show you. So this is the V1, right? Cool. All right. Now we go to V2, which is the V1. I think it's 80%. So when it comes to V1, I think it's 80% dark. If you put 1 to 100, so 100 is the black. The 1 is the lightest light, right? So 80%, this is 80%. The V1, it should be 80%. V2, I think it's 60 or 50. We'll see now. So this is V2 right here. All right. Then we have a V3. This is a V3. And I show exactly why I do this. So you're going to understand it right now. So this is a V3. Oh. Cool. And this is a V4. Now, I don't know if this napkin is the best for it, but anyway. So this is a V4. I can't see much. Hold on a second. All right, cool. Actually, I do get something what I need. Probably I've done it a little bit wrong because, let me get another tissue. I think it has to be done in a different way. Hold on. All right, this is wet actually. Let's work on wet. Cool. Hold on a second. Let me see if it actually shows here. Fuck you, Chris. Bad idea again. Sorry, guys. Let me bring clean one. Clean one and wet. Clean and wet. And I show what I need clean and wet. I'm back, my ninjas. I show what I need clean and wet. Actually, why it has to be wet? Because on the dry ones, so we go back. On the dry ones, it doesn't really show how much you spread the ink, because I want to show you, let's go back to tribal black. So number one, tribal black, right? All right, that spreads nicely. That was the point. Thank you. Number black. Then we go for lining. There you have your lining. Then you have the V1. Where did I put the V1? V1 here. Perfect. Now we're gonna have V2 and V3. V2, always check the ink is good before. V2. That's why I need it to be wet. I forgot about that trick. V2, sorry, that was V3 and V4. So V4, I think it's 20, let's make it right there. V4 is 20%. So you have to understand any ink when it heals, it does, again, depends on the brand, they will lighten up. So let's say that this one, the last one, the V4, is gonna lighten up to a point that is gonna be probably like 0.05 dark compared to, so black is a real black, right? But then when they heal, they're all kind of tend to lighten up. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to shading, V4, even V4, let's say it's only 20% black, but when it lightens up, it's still, so even the black, when it gets into the skin, after it heals up and you put layers of skin, it shows the only true 80%. So it's not gonna be like pitch black, the black is black on the wall because you're gonna have layers of skin. So basically it's gonna end up being only 80% black. Now, if that's the case, you drop 20% on every ink. So this one is gonna be extremely light. Like V4, when it lightens up, it's gonna be very light. It's still gonna be a shading there. That's what I'm saying. So, but then if you put 2 drops on the water, then 2 drops of shading on the water, when it's gonna heal, it's gonna be extremely light, but you still have a nice transition. The whole point is when you work with them is to actually mix them together. I'm gonna go back to this in a second. You understand what I was doing there. Now, that's the way to look at the inks, and I show you, it's working my trick. But that's how you know your inks. So you have to understand that every ink actually, because of the layer of the way you put on the skin, and because the skin grows over it, right? It's like an open wound, the skin grows over it, they all get lighter. So regardless you do, they will fade. I mean, that's normal, that's the whole point. So you have to know your inks. We agree on that. We all agree on that. Cool. Needles, very important. The inks, we talked about the inks. We covered the inks section for now. Needles and the speed of the machine is really important. The faster you go with the machine, the bigger the needle, the smoother you get. You don't go too deep, you just brush it in. Now you have to understand, what you do, you may get a very smooth transition, but you're not gonna have, the ink is not really saturated in the skin. To do that, you have to work actually with lower voltage, so super slow, and again, for black and gray in general, you need smaller diameter needles. When I'm saying smaller diameter needles, we talked the other day, if you watched the video with the needles, if this number 35, you have number 30 and 25. So that's be 0, 12. This will be 0, 10. And this one is going to be 0, 30, 35, hold on, 0, 12, 0, 10, 0, 8, exactly. Okay, so 0.35, the diameter of a needle, basically how thick the needle is. That's the diameter from here to here. So that's your diameter of a needle, right? So let's say this is a 0.35. Now the second one is going to be thinner, and the third one is going to be thinner. So that's your diameter, and that's your needle here, right? If you look at this, as even like so this is, let's say this is 0.35. Even now they have actually 0.40, which is going to be of course a lot more thicker. But 0.35, 0.30, right here. Now to do very smooth shading, and you need the smaller the size of needle and faster the machine. Again, if you do a shading, let's say if you look at Bob Tyler's the way it works, and we talked about it, he works very slow. Like a tattoo, it takes a portrait like this, and it does it in 8 hours, right? You have to understand, he does portraits for the last 30 years. But he has the same technique. It goes very smooth, really, really smooth, and he just kind of brush it in really slowly, so over and over. Instead to go fast and brush it and give that kind of glossy effect, you still can achieve it. That's why, again, that's why if you look at these tattoos, the skin is not red. Because you don't do that much trauma to the skin. You can go, again, basically you can go over with the small needles. With the small needles, you can go over even 10 times. You can pass over 10 times if you pay attention, right? So with a small needle, the smaller the needle, and it has a little bit of a bend, a dance. So basically when you tattoo with a smaller needle, you can crank down the machine. If you want a tattoo to last, like that kind of shading, let's say even the last shading, the number 4, if you do it very fast, it's going to lighten up a lot, and you don't go too deep. Because if you go too deep and go too fast, you're going to have the dotted effect. So you have to push a little bit and just kind of brush over the skin. If you go to needles, they go too deep, then you're going to have a sandpaper effect, right? That's just for traditional, let's say. But if you go very slow, you have to go over probably 8, 5, 10 times, but you build up, right? You build up. What you do, you go, let's say, with lighter skin. People work from light to dark to light. That's a preference. That's not a style, or not something that somebody does it better or worse. That's only that you use. That depends what works for you, right? I've seen people cranking up the fucking machine and they just what they do. You may do a portrait. You go very light on it. You pretty much do on the whole portrait, and then you go back again with the darker tones, whatever it needs, under the eye, under the darker shading, whatever it needs, you go darker. That's just a preference. Everybody works different, so it's not right or wrong. I know for a fact though, if you go very fast and beginner needles, they will fade a lot more. But if you want that effect, it's good. Now I saw tattoos like Bob Tyler. He does everything he does is in one session. It takes forever, but I see them healed after a year or two, and it looks exactly the same, because you go so slow in, and you saturate it so precise that it's not just, you just not kind of try to treat the skin and put all over. Wherever you go, it's hidden point. So when you saturate that ink, it shouldn't lighten up 20%, right? So say for instance the number 4, if I go very fast and do that technique, it will actually lighten up to be on a number 3. But if I go really, really slow, it's going to lighten up to be number 15 instead of 15% instead of 20%. So that's important how much depth you put the needle in the skin, and what needles you use, and the speed of the machine. The bigger needles in general, they use for blocking in the ink. The smoother you want, and that with the smaller needle goes with the colors as well. The colors, the same thing. If you want like super smooth blend, you're gonna need smaller size needles, smaller size diameter needles to be precise. Okay, that kind of it's working. Let me see something here. I don't know if you guys can see much. Let me get it closer and I show what. But by the end of the session, by the end of the session, we will actually already start spreading out, right? So look how black down is there. Lighter. This one, you see the way it bleeds out? Hold on a second. Hold on. Like right here. It needs to dry out and then you see the difference. But already kind of start drying out. You're gonna see the difference of actually. It's gonna show you exactly how much it lighten up. It's okay. By the time we finish the session, we'll be on point with it. But that's a trick. So before you start your session, you can put it on. By the time you set up, blah 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 blah. It's gonna show you how when it lights, because when it dries out, you're gonna show the true colors, right? You're gonna see when it dries out how exactly the perfect shade, the perfect amount of graduation in the inks. And again, don't forget you mix in between. That's why you have a cup of water. Let's say for instance that's again the V1. So V1 and V2, right? If I know something that's 80% and that's 60. If I want one in between, either I dip in this one in number 2 and then I dip in number 1. So you have one in between. You have one in between. Now, or you can go vice versa. You dip in this one first, down first. If you want something darker in between those two, you just dip in whatever the shading you want and you want to one above, whatever. So basically, that's how you do. That's how you mix your inks. Now, very important is some blacks. Let's say this one, the black I have. This is the travel one. It's pretty dirty. It's sticky. It's because it's a heavy ink. Sometimes I do lines. I do dip it into once into the when I do the lines into the lightest gray. Like I use number 1 gray. Sorry, the darkest gray, number 1, and that makes it thinner. But I know it's not going to be a perfect pitch black. So I'll go, when it's all done, I go back on it with pitch black, right? So otherwise, when you do some lines and you don't want to fuck up the stencil, being so sticky, it dries really fast on the skin, and when you wipe it, it's just messy. But if you go with there's another technique you can do, blood lines. And when you do blood lines, you basically go over again. But it's not like it takes a lot more time. Sometimes you want that, the lines you work, just work on this, and then when you rework the line, when you go just already it's blocky there, and then you go with black over. So far so good. Let me see some questions and answers, and then we go back with more talking, and down is gonna heal. How is everyone? How is everyone? How is everyone? How is everyone? I hope everyone is perfect, amazing, and beautiful today. I'm gonna get fucked up later. And the monitor actually just arrived. That's why I've been busy signing papers. So I'm gonna be ready to do that critique soon. Talking about the inks. Talking about what do you call that? Talking about the raffle with the inks. Man, I don't know. See, the problem with that one I have is, first of all, I can't pay for shipment wherever they're gonna go, even if it's in the States. It's expensive. Even the t-shirt, I send a t-shirt to hold on, he changed his name. It'll come to me. Anyway, even that one was to send over, it's like $7 something. It's not much, but if I start giving like 5-10 prices away, I can't spend $70 on sending stuff to people. So that's not gonna work. And to be honest, I don't wanna lose money. As well, I just give a lot of free stuff out there. So the one rule is going to be changed. People have to pay for their own shipment, whatever they want, how they want it, whatever if they want it. Now, when it comes to that's the trickiest part. Let's say if you win a t-shirt, that's okay. The Radiant sent me some t-shirts. I don't know what's the value for them. I don't even know if it's worth to spend $7 to send it. I have no idea. Don't ask me. I have no clue. My t-shirt they worth, but I have only one left to give. The inks, now when it comes to the inks, man, I don't know how much it is to ship, let's say in the States. Probably it's a lot cheaper, but to ship them outside, let's say somebody wins a set of 10 inks, I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, that's my big debate. Now to split them up, to have only one full set or two sets out of all the inks, they send me, I think altogether like two. I need to go through them. They sent me a bag full of inks, but they're all same colors basically. Hold on a second, let me bring them out. Hold on. Damn, Santa is in town. Damn, Santa is in town. Anyway, hold on a second, hold on. So they sent me all these weird, I don't even know what they are actually. T-shirts, I think they're t-shirts. Pretty cool t-shirts. So they sent me all this stuff here. So this is what they sent me, and I told them I'm gonna give them away. I don't keep nothing. So they sent me t-shirts. Size M, XL, whatever, L. I don't know what. Anyway. So those are the t-shirts. That's pretty simple. I mean, listen, somebody wants, they want to wear them, they win, more than welcome. But, so they send me all these inks. That's how much inks I have here. They come like this. So when I'm saying there's not even a set, they come in a set. And they're all, so I don't know, you see they're all different colors, man, on each set. So either I give away set like this, which is 10 bottles in a set, so I can have prices and people can pick up the colors, because if I break them down, so every set has, okay, so this is the, man, I didn't even know what, this is, they have blocks, they have, look at this one. So they have the block inside, white, water, so every set has different stuff on it, man. I don't know if they meant to be like a set like this, because the colors, they just random. They don't even, they don't add on. You see, like even those colors, brown, yellow, orange, pink, red, and blue, which I don't, they're not even primary colors, so I don't know. And then I have set like this, which is all greens. I mean, with that one, I'm gonna have to break them down. Those are nice traveling packs. So they're all, look at this one, has different purples and green, red, gray. They're random set, right? So my whole debate, right? That's only yellows. I didn't even look at them, to tell the truth, guys. I didn't even, hold on, let me see black. Do I have any black ones, black sets? I didn't see no black sets, man. Hold on. I'm trying to see even if I have like a black and gray set. Nope, no black and gray set. Only colors, only colors. So my big debate for that one is, so if I give a present, oh, black. This is the small portable one. So I assume every time I give a set like this, I'm gonna include a black one and then a white one in a set. So there's 5. I think that's the only one way. People who ink, they can pick what they want. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But the thing is, I'm not gonna start giving individual color. Let's say, oh, I want blue, red, pink, and this and that, because then it's gonna end up weird. So basically what I'm saying is, they can pick up a set or 2. If I have like the first prize, it's gonna be the machine. The second prize, 2 sets, right? For instance, I don't know, I have to check. So I have enough. But the thing with the inks, I wanna make sure there's a lot more people get them. So probably I'm gonna do a set, whatever price is a set each. So I'm gonna include 1 or 2 sets per probably 2 sets per price. So sorry, 2 sets per. So I'm gonna give away 2 sets, so 2 people can win, right? So it's gonna be a T-shirt, it's gonna be a machine, 2 sets. Oh, there you go, perfect. Probably give one shout out. So it's still gonna be nice, 4 or 5 prizes. Now, again, what I'm trying to say with that is, if somebody from outside the States wins one of those sets, I don't even know if it's worth to be sent over. That's my thing. I don't know how that shit works, and I don't want to look like an idiot telling people stuff, because again, they have to pay for it, man. What happened with Adrian? Apparently, he had to pay for the machine in Germany. They asked him to pay tax or whatever. I don't even know. Like, what the fuck? It's a present, and they still want you. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you get a set of inks, you spend $20 to send it over. You send to 20, and then it gets there, and you have to pay tax on it or whatever it is. I don't even know if it's worth it, man. Like, you know, that's the problem. I don't know how it works, but I mean, I want to give them away. That's why they're here, to give them away. So let's see. Cool. That's about talking about this. All right, black and gray, black and gray, black and gray. So far, let me read some. Man, I thought they're gonna send me more sets. I want to give away some black and gray sets. That'll be nice, because I mean, talking about black and gray, it'd be really nice to give away some sets to the people, but it looks like they send me all the colors, so it is what it is. I'm not the boss. They were kind enough to send me stuff. I didn't even ask them what should I tag. They didn't even say shit, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, let me read some comments. Guys. Let me see what's going on, everyone. What up, Alexander S? Big shout out, man. Thank you, guys. How are you today? I need to start drinking more. I don't even know, like, more often or more quantities. Let me get my drink, ninjas. All right. The drink is back. Cool. What we were talking. Start reading the comments. Let's see. Alexander, sounds dope. Never too late. Yes, sir. Those glasses gave me cancer. D.888. Bro, sorry to hear that. I just bought them the other day. $5. I hope they're not gonna give me shit. I'm probably gonna lose them pretty soon or break them, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I have another glasses. They don't give me cancer. I have a fucking expensive pair of glasses, but I'm too scared to wear them because they're gonna get broken. They're custom made for more. That's a different story. Okay, which black is the most black out there? I answer, I don't think so. I don't know. The super black I heard is very black. Last time I tattooed with it was really black, really like super messy. Kind of, it's very sticky, but it was really black. I think, see, when it comes to inks, is the technique. What I was explaining to you guys earlier is the technique how you push in the skin. You want something to last, to be the purest color, you go fucking slow, man. That's why the colors, when you saturate colors, you have to go slowly. The same thing with black and gray, you go faster to blend and to do a glassy effect. But overall, you still need to slow down to push it in, right? That's all it says, slow the fuck down. All right, Anthony Rapp, which is the black one's black? I'm fine with dynamic, but in Italy is illegal. Yo, they try to make illegal a lot of inks, man. A lot of inks. It's all about. Well, I think in Spain, I don't even think it's for a fact. In Spain, every ink is illegal. I mean, somebody can confirm if it's from Spain. You have to work only the inks the government gives you. Which I remember I work in Spain, and the people have to hide the inks in the attics. So you work in a studio and they just hide it somewhere because you have control. There are all these people coming in to see what inks you work. And you have the inks there, you put it, let's say intense, you put your inks there and then you hide them. Pretty fucking shit. So the government wants them to buy the inks from them. I think, you know, on the end, they want to control this industry in a way to actually, because so many people get tattooed and they want to put a lot of shit in the inks. And then you're gonna get cancer. And suddenly say, oh, if you get tattoo, you get cancer. That's why usually I think when the government puts their nose into it, we're gonna get screwed. But it is what it is. So I think they want to make it a lot of inks illegal in a lot of countries, and it have all these regulations, the amount of how organic they are, amount of plumb, a lot of this, a lot of that. But overall, they do want actually the government to control the inks and have only their own inks. Cool. It's frozen. Yeah, that was frozen. Okay. Again, freezing. Yeah, that was my freezing session. Can you hear me now? That was me answering to myself. Okay, sorry. Okay, then I think. I do think about dynamic black for gray wash. I answered earlier, dynamic for black and gray wash. I think, at least when I used it, I think they changed the formula. So I was talking with somebody a while back and they said they did change the formula. Now they're more true. So basically when you tattoo, again, I remember that the dynamic I used was super dark when I was using the skin. I was kind of scared to use it. It was super dark, and when it healed up, it went like, what the fuck? I'm talking like turbo light. Now, Tom, what's his name? The German guy, Tommy Wlanger. I don't know. He does all the weird bioorganic, biomechanical, like octopuses and octopus eyes. Anyway, I saw some of his work, and back in the time, he was using dynamic, and you can see the work lighten up a lot over years. And I'm not sure if I talked to him or I remember the convention. That's what was the discussion about the dynamic. And I think dynamic changed the formula. I don't want to talk shit, but what happens now is more true to the colors. Like again, with this, I know, for instance, how like they do lighten up a lot, but still not that much. I remember dynamic was lighting up insanely amount. Like it was lighting up 80%. It was on the skin, not 20%. And it's kind of puts you off when you work. You may do a portrait and you want to take a photo. Either looks too dark, and then when it heals, it looks way too light anyway. But if you work on big projects and you know the ink, you know how it heals, then you know exactly what you do and you don't care. You care only when it heals. But again, it is what it is. Cool. What up, man? What up? Shurban Srivastava. Alright, what up, bro? Bro, Rico, dynamic is dark ink. Here's light, but so the black is blacker than the most for me. Oh, all right, so there you go. So dynamic, the black, I never use the actual black, so he's blacker than most for me. There you go. Man, again, I work with this. I work with from this set. I was with a tribal black, and this motherfucker is dark, man. It's dark, and then I have turbo black. It's dark. I mean, it's dark. It's dark. But I cannot compare it with other inks because I haven't worked with other inks in a long time. But it's dark. Okay, cool. Salutiku, Adrian. Termatched. Okay, silver black, stupid black. Silverback. Oh, I think hold on a second. The silverback is it's in States, right? I think I heard about that one. I never tried it. All right, Adrian, if you make. Okay, Adrian, if I make my own gray wash, drop technique is also important. Well, yeah, if you make your drop, if you make your gray wash, definitely you have to go with the drop technique. And always what happens, make a habit out of it of actually always do exactly the same thing, the same amount of inks. Now what happens with that one is you're gonna have to work either the size of the ink cups, always, because you cannot guess, right? I mean that's just a habit. Otherwise, from every session, you cannot rely on how the tattoo heals. You may tattoo this guy heals like this, and the other one, even if you fuck up with 1 or 2 drops, it does show on the tattoo. The smaller the tattoo, the more it shows. The bigger, it kind of is not that much, but it is very important. And usually if you work on a larger scale, now let's say you're used to using smaller tubes, smaller ink cups, right? And you're gonna use on a bigger tattoo. What do? You put 2 ink cups of each instead of 1. So when you dip between them, because every time, okay, you have to understand, every time your needle goes into the skin bleeds. So every time you push it back in the water or in the inks, you contaminate the ink. What happens with that? The ink gets lighter and lighter. Every time you drop in the water, you move it back in the thing, you lighten up that thing. So there's no pure 80% or 20%. The ink, sometimes even you see the you're shading and the ink doesn't have the same flow, rinse the needle in the water cup, because the blood gets drier faster on the tube, and it just doesn't work consistent. So the blood is somebody bleeds a lot, which is normal. Let's say somebody that are on blood thinners or they take medication or whatever it is. That some people bleed a lot more than the others, or they've been a heavy drinking session a few days before. That's gonna affect your inks a lot, man. And what happens with that one is you'll see, oh, why the fuck the ink is not that clean? Because basically the ink cups got contaminated with so much blood and water, because every time you have to dip in and out. So what do? You do 2 ink cups of each, or 3. Or if you work with big cups, that's different story. Usually when I work for a big piece, I always try to use a lot more ink. Now again, I have the luxury of having inks, but all said, whatever the fuck they cost, man, I don't even know how much it costs, one of them. Anyway, the inks they don't supposed to last you for years, man. That's a misconception. You want the inks to be fresh. So wherever you go to a set, I mean, black and gray, let's say, use them a lot more. Just go and put more inks in use bigger cups. What happens is the true colors stays cleaner for a long more time. Don't be greedy with, oh, I put only 1 drop. Well, 1 drop, if you put, let's say, you use only small cups, it's a small tattoo, you still contaminate that thing. You want even if it's black, you want bigger so it stays cleaner. You know, don't worry about how much. I mean, you try to save nickel and dime 3 cents on a fucking tattoo session. That doesn't work like that. You nickel dime on different stuff, like whatever, needles. Cut, if you work with 9 Magnum and 15, cut the 13, take the 13 out. You don't need the 13 Magnum, so you save money on that one. But you can't really, when it comes to inks, make sure you do actually put more inks in the cup. Better to have more and you keep them clean and not contaminated. That's really important. And you're gonna see the difference when it heals the tattoo. You want that ink to be fucking clean, man. Or have 2 ink cups. Usually I have a black when I use with black, like something very black. I have a black which I never use. I use it only specifically when my needle is clean, and that goes in and out, and that's the last touch. The same thing goes with the white. I have a white which I work in between. I mix whatever it is. It gets creamy or whatever. But I have the super highlight white, which I use only when my needle is super clean, and that's it. Some people actually, when it comes to white, the funniest thing is they use only 1 needle, whatever the needle is, only for the highlights. Even if it doesn't matter how much you clean, it's still not that clean, you know. Or the water. Make sure you change the water when you start cleaning your tip and you start working with white. If you work on the end of it, on the end of the session, have a clean glass of water, because even that water being a little bit, you know, the way you're dipping in and out the grays, when you put the white, you wash your needle, it's not pure white. It's going to be contaminated. So you don't have that pure, clear white. It's the same thing goes with darks, with shading, with everything. With colors, with everything. I'm going to go to color theory probably after this one, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. I'm going to do color theory, and that's more intense than this. Black and gray pretty much it's pretty simple, because that's the only one, you know, it's only one way, and it's a preference. When it comes to black and gray, it's super simple. You have five shades, including black. You should mimic 7 shades on the white skin. When I'm saying white skin, I'm saying like Nordic skin, Irish, Finland, like super white skin. The skin that doesn't see sun color. I mean, I'm talking for people in Europe, right? You know the difference. It's different to tattoo somebody from south of Spain or to tattoo somebody from Finland when the skin is turbo fucking white and it stays. The colors, the tones stay true. So you can mimic 7 grades of shade. The skin should be able to mimic 7 grays, 7 tones of grays. That's how you mix in between, and then you have the white, and then you have black. Now, a trick before we forget about this one. There's a trick, right? A lot of people do this. You do a portrait, do nice eyes here, smiley face. For the portrait, you use, for instance, radiant ink, right? That's for your portrait. But then, on the background, when you want to do the background, to have that kind of effect, you use different ink. Some people actually have specific ink for the background, let's say. And that's but when you use different things, because again, not every ink is the same. So when you do this, it does actually affect the depth of it, because you read different. If I work with the same shading here on the face and I put on the background, it's the same ink. So you read basically the same it's the same brand, so that doesn't have nothing twitch to it. But when you get different brand of ink, they may have something twitch into it, which is gonna show the difference between them and that. So it gives the depth. Some people put a drop of when it comes to black and gray, put a drop of burgundy or dark brown into the inks, into the gray inks, right? So that makes it hot gray. And then when you do the background, they put a drop of blue. So I'm mixing it makes it cold gray. Now you're gonna have a very huge depth, and your eye doesn't read it. When you look at it, you're not gonna read. It's not red. It just looks more warm or hot. It's a warm color. And what happens is against the blue, it gives a distance. So the background, you may have a background, but it pushes the portrait out instead to looking flat. So if you use the same inks, the same stuff, when you put the background, it's gonna look more or less flat because there's no definition. It's still gonna look 3D, but what I'm saying is the dimension is gonna look flat because your eye reads exactly the same tones, right? But when you use different brand, for instance, or you put a drop of whatever blue, or even you can put only the background, blue or red, it gives you a depth. It gives you actually a dimension because your eye reads something else. Even if you don't see it, we don't understand it, but it reads it in a different way. So that's really important, really important. Back to the question, Adrian. You're gonna win. Adrian, people can pick one. Yes, I think you're gonna win. I know you're gonna win because you're a player. You post like 20,000 of those things, and then you're gonna win. That's how usually, man, you have to post stuff. Okay. Bombos, that's really cool for you, giveaway stuff. Very welcome, very welcome, very welcome. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do this year. I have a lot of stuff to give away, machines, inks, things. I try to get more sponsors, like it's not even sponsored to give away stuff. I don't need shit, man, so I don't need to keep anything. I have everything I need, so I don't. But it'll be nice to have people give stuff to it. Okay. Puerto Rico, super black is really black, but it's messy if you're not careful. Messy, yeah, it's like a sticky, right? Am I right or wrong? It's like a super sticky. It just doesn't wash off, and then you start wiping, and then the stencil goes away, and then you mash the whole thing. Yep. Igor Inkart, slow down on the drugs, man. Really? Slow down on drugs, man. We need you. We are going on great work. Thank you for everything. I don't do drugs, bro. That's another thing. Trust me. I slow down on this. Fuck them, yeah. If you talk about those drugs, yeah. I think I'm gonna die young and handsome, like everybody else out there. Yep. All right. Thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me alive. I really appreciate that. It's a pay up. Okay. The white thing that I use is awesome. Yes, actually, you know what? Adrian, I'll try. Okay, the white thing, man, fuck, I ran out of the bottle. I had a bottle of the white. Okay, so for this one, it comes with white. I like it, but to be very honest, I really love the Reddit, the Starbright white. We talked about the inks, the Starbright. So the Starbright split in two. It's two companies. The old one still has the original formula. When it comes to inks, everybody has why the inks are different because they have different mixture they put in the inks to have. It's a formula, right? So that's the secret, and that's why the brand is better than the other or worse, whatever the fuck it is. But so Starbright split in two. The old one, they still have the original inks, the one you used to, the Canary Yellow, the very famous Canary Yellow, the famous white, and I love those yellow and white, man. And when they split up, the other company is not that good. Now, I still don't know which one is the original one, and I'm trying to order another white, and I have to make a research online to see which is the original company because I want to order for them. What happens with that one is, the original one stays super white, and it's very, very fast white, but it stays super white when it heals. The other one gets bonier, so it gets kind of it's not that pure white. At least to me, I remember I had the wrong bottle. I threw it out after I find out what was the difference. But it stays bony. It kind of, it doesn't really show pure white. It's just, you know, like bone color. It's a little bit yellowish, grayish. I don't even fucking know. So it's not a pure white, and that's bad, man. That's actually bad. I don't. So right now I'm using the Radiant. I like them, but for a reason it's just not my white. I've been working for the last 15 years with that Starbright white, and I use it. I know how it works. I know how to push in the skin, and that's why it stays really fucking white, man. And I know when I work with it, it stays really white. Now with Radiant on those sets, I mix them. Like when I do my grays, when I do this, usually I mix my own grays and I mix them with white. So if I do something and I need to, I use the brand. But for highlights, I use Starbright. Now, really important talking about this, don't mix, let's say again, you know I told you like have a different types of, for different types of ink, different brand. Don't mix them in between. Either use one for the other, don't mix, because sometimes they don't really mix, and they may mix in the cup, you see, and when you put on the skin, they look choppier and breaks up. Don't mix things. Try to work with the same brand, or if you use different brand inks from different brand, use them for specific stuff. Let's say Canary Yellow, I use it only for highlights yellow from Starbright, right? The Starbright White, I use it only for highlights. I don't use Starbright for mixing, because I don't know how the fuck mix with this shit, but I use the Radiant to mix with the Radiant. But so basically, if I use different brands, I use them specifically for highlights and specifically for only that color. If I want a pure color, like that pure yellow, if I do a flower and I want the yellow's yellow, and that's the Canary Yellow from Starbright, I'll use that one. And that's the highlight. That's gonna be the strongest yellow point. Because all the other ones, they cool, but if you use different ink, it just shows up. It gives the again, because they don't blend, it just gives you different dimension. Right? Alright. Oh, let me see what happened. Okay, human end up whipping too much as it's dry real quick. Yep, that's exactly. Well, that's the thing with the thicker inks. The thicker inks, they dry. The thing with them, they dry really fast. And again, when you put them on the cups, if you don't use them, put a drop of glycerin, or people use, again, sorry, let me go back for a second. When I start from the beginning of the session, for black and gray, when you mix, don't use tap water, man. Get distilled water, have a thing, and drops in a thing. And there's a technique, right? And always use water from bottles or whatever. Don't use tap water for rinsing your needles. You don't know what the infection can get out of that. First of all. Second of all, put water, the comb on this side. Hold on. 1 second, guys. Because I see it here. Where are you, Scooby-Doo? Okay, this one. So Radiant, and I think all the you see the clear ones here, the clear ones. So this is, hold on a second. Okay, this is clear, right? So this one is mixing. So what you do, that's glycerin. People use glycerin, or you can make your own little bit drop of alcohol, glycerin, and water. You mix it up, and then you put it in one of the ink cups, clean one, and that's how you count your drops when you do with the dropping effect. Or again, people use rose water. You get that thing at the chemist, whatever. It's just a bottle. It's called rose water. Apparently, it makes it super smooth, super creamy when you do the black and gray. People swear by that. I use it once or twice when I work at the studios, but I never. Usually, I use whatever comes with this stuff. But that's how you do. Don't just put tap water when you put in the cups. Have distilled water, or have rose water, or even just get a bottle of premixed stuff and you put it on top, because they are not just water. You have to understand. On this one, if you read on the thing in the back, they have glycerin, alcohol, whatever different substances, and then the powder they make it the black, right? So you kind of have to use the same liquid but pure without pigments. So that's how you clean it up. Now, when it comes to black, let's say you work towards the end and it dries up, you put a drop of 2 on top of it, and but don't mix it. Don't evaporate. The same thing when you work with colors. Some colors, they dry faster than the other. You put a drop on all of them, and if you don't touch them, they just let them let them, they will evaporate eventually, but the ink doesn't dry. Now, you have to understand, if you start using the colors and you put a drop on them, or even on the black, that black is not going to be as black as it's supposed to do. Very important thing. I've seen people doing this. Fuck, hold on a second. Okay, here. You see that liquid here. So when you get a bottle of inks, you see the difference this. So this is the pigments, this is not. If I start shaking it, it mixes up. So when you open the cup, first time when you open the cup, there's a layer of that glycerin on top of it. Some people, what they do to keep the colors purer, you kind of throw most of it out, and then just when you shake it well, it gets a lot thicker, but it's just purer ink, right? With black and gray, I think the same stuff. If you let it settle down for days, it's gonna still the thing. You just drop if you wanna make it more thicker and more pure. Actually, I would say more pure. Super. All right, let's see what's there. The entrance true black. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, Alexander, I use Radiant. I never tried the white from them though. Well, I had some problems. Actually, I told them to. I got this, I think it was the pure white that I was doing for highlights, and it got really brown. But man, I don't know. That's why I'm very scared to use new things. Man, the clients pay money. And I remember I done this guy, and the white ended up being brown, and it ended up being shit, to be honest. And I actually texted the sponsor like, yo, what the fuck is this white? If it's that shit, why do you have it on the market? Because you cannot use it. That's not a highlight white. That white is for mixing. So you have mixing white. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to Radiant and the white, I just use it only to mix my blacks. I don't use it for highlights because I'm so used with the Starbright, man, being so white. Like it's just pure. After 10 years, it's still white. It's like, what the fuck? Whatever they do, whatever they have on those things, and that white thing is magic, man. And that's how it is. And that's why I'm scared to try any other things, mostly for highlights, because you may do a highlight and it's super important. The highlights are really, really important. You do the highlight and it's just, if it gets yellow, it's not that pure color. You need the white to be a highlight. If it's something shining and it's bouncing on the piece of metal and it's that super white thing and it gets brown, it's like, what the fuck, man? So the white is it's a really tricky ink. Okay, let's see what. The Intense True Black Advanced product. Again, I haven't worked Intense. It's a really good ink. I think that for whatever the reason is, they're barred from a lot of countries. I don't even know if they sell it in Europe. I know for a fact there's a lot of countries they are not allowed to it. They don't even sell it. I think in Germany, I remember what's Premier Products, I think it's called, a company. It says we don't sell it to Germany. You ship it for whatever to another country. And again, even the Radiant, not all countries in Europe you can buy it. The same thing with Intense. I don't know what is it, but it's not in all the countries. You can't really get it. I don't even know if it's legal in the States. I don't even know if you can get it in the States. But that's the thing with the inks. But I think, again, when it comes to inks, it doesn't really matter. It's what you get used to it. It is important. The more you work, the more you're going to understand how it works. And again, if it doesn't work for you, don't fucking use it, man. Just use something else. Use inks. Try different things. What you can do, I mean, it's kind of weird. If you have like a larger session, you can use a set of inks. You can buy, for instance, again, you can just buy the pure black of 2 different inks, and then you do the technique number 2, and you just mix them and cook. But then when you work on a bigger piece, do one session, one ink. So when it comes back out, it heals, and if you like it, keep working with that ink. If not, do the other ink and go over, and then you see how down. Sometimes it's even good to mix 2 inks in 2 sessions, you know. But find your inks, man. Because again, every ink out there. So the ink and the machines, when it comes to coils, is something we can adjust towards us. The way you can adjust the machine the way you kind of want it in one way. When it comes to rotaries and inks, they don't give a fuck about you. Those things, they don't care. You have to learn them. The same thing, having a rotary machine, you have to learn how the machine works, and then how the machine works with the inks and what part of the body. That's really important. When you have a coil, it's different. The coil kind of, they don't really, the coil, you adjust around the coil and the coil adjusts around you, and then the inks, they don't give a fuck. You regardless, that coil is gonna push it in, or you can smooth it out, because it's, if you know your machine, and the more you use the machine, the more warms up around the way you work, right? When it comes to rotaries and inks, they know friends. They don't want to be friends. They're never going to be friends. They don't give a fuck. Those things and the rotaries, they don't give a fuck about us as an artist. They want you to learn they things. So what you do have to learn your inks and how you put them on the skin with the machine you use. What happens with that one is keep using the same machine for a longer time, keep using the same inks, try inks for 3-4 months, see how they work. Make sure you have people sending you back pictures, healed pictures after 5 months. Then you can go to another set of inks, try them out, and then see how those tattoos heal after a year. And then you may find a set of inks that you really like. There's nothing, I don't think so. It's something that, you know, the best machine in the world or the best things. I don't know, man. And I do think somehow some inks are better for different types of skin. Again, I haven't had the luxury to try them on, because lately, for the years and years, I work only with this brand, and I'm super happy with it. And probably that's why they, understanding how they work, my work actually shows the true colors of the inks, right? I remember I done this gas spot in Mexico. We're at the convention actually, and we're using Radiant, and the guys, some of our artists says, "Oh, is that true that the inks for the States, there's different product than the inks from Mexico?" I was like, "What makes you think that?" It's like, "Well, I see the way you tattoo, and yours are very bright." It's like, it's the technique. It's the technique. You have to get your technique down. Every color, everything has a different technique. Man, the yellow and lime green is the hardest fucking color to put on the skin. If you don't know how the technique for them, you're fucked. They're not gonna look the same. So when it comes to colors, every color has a technique. You need to learn a technique, the parts of the body, and that comes with the experience of working and try and error, right? Now the same thing with the grays. It's try and error, and they all have techniques and the parts of the body and how cleaner, how smoother you want to get it, how fast. Let's say if you do the tone of the face, the blending on the face, right? And you want to kind of highlights, but it's not pure white. You go with super light gray, and it's still kind of blending in, so it gives a nice roundy effect from dark to light. And that's in inks. You don't just leave skin color. I mean, listen, you can leave skin color, and it's simple like that, and then you just put the highlights. But I think, man, there's a lot of portraits out there, you look at them, they're actually saturated, all perfect. That's why it's a perfect thing, because like right now I do a portrait right here, right? And if I turn mine on black and white, let me show how my portrait is gonna go on black and white. Let me see here. Let me see saturation. Okay. For instance, there you go. Okay, so this is black and gray, more or less, right? Let me see. Is that black and gray? No, it's not black and gray, you idiot. Hold on a second. Let me do my face on black and gray. Let me do my face on black and gray. Here we are. 0. That's black and gray right here. That should be black and gray. Perfect. Now, look at my pretty face. Cool. So, right here, right? That's the lightest point. That's not white. White is this, man. That's white. My book. That's white. This is still a tone of gray. So if I do have to do let's say for instance I do a portrait of my ugly face right now. You see how many depth of shadows you have from the dark one here, which the blackest point will be my glasses, right? So that's like super black. Let's actually go on forehead, because I have more depth on the forehead. Look from here. We have one tone here, one tone here, one here, and then you have the whitest point, which actually is not really white. If I do white, I probably do, let me put my glasses out. I kind of have to see it perfect. All right, cool. So the whitest point will be around here, probably I do like everything else. This is, even here, that's not actually white. It's actually super, super light gray. So over here in my tone of my face, you have a transition from dark, lighter, lighter, dark again. So this is, let's say, this is number, so my eyebrows, they're not black, right? Don't confuse it. So this is, let's say, number 1 shading, right? My eyes are going to be black, whatever the area. And then this one here, this is number 2, right? Then you go number 3 around here, and then number 4 is going to be right here. You understand? That's how the shading works. My teeth, they're not even white. They're not white. As people think when they do teeth, they make them super, or even the eye. You see the eye? People they do all the stuff on the eye around it with white. There's no white. There's a drop or 2 of white. But everything else is a super light gray. I should have done my session in black and gray. I should have done my session in black and gray because it's a black and gray day. So, I think we kind of agree on the techniques here. So it's really important to see the graduation, the smoothness, and to understand. Usually black and gray, when I'm saying, listen, there's a lot of tattoos black and gray, but the more accurate of use of a real black and gray, it is on a portrait, because you have so many tones, right? But right now, if I do a tattoo in black and gray, and I'm in the tattoo, this is my tattoo area. This, whatever you see right around me, this is the tattoo, right? For instance, this is pure white. Even down, it's only some points, and then you see how many shades are around me. Look at the skull right there. Look how the difference comparing to white. That's not white. So you have to pay attention. Which I'm gonna show you this. I have a video on how I edit on Photoshop, and I show how you pick up colors. I'm gonna do a session. My monitor in the next few days. I'm gonna do sessions on the computer to show you guys how I work and to understand how can you get the tones, the real tones from the computer when you prepare a stencil. That's different story. Okay, questions and answers. Should I go back on my color face? Let me go back on my color. I'll leave it black and white. Fuck it. Let's leave it black and white. Let's leave it black and white. For now. Let's see question and answer. All right. Chris, what techniques you use in transitions? Depends of the size of the tattoo, and depends what kind of transition. If I have like something really, let's say for instance, I'm talking about something bigger, right? If I have a very smooth transition, I'll go from dark, so not pitch black. I'm gonna go for number 1. So sorry, that was the lining. Number 1. So I go from number 1, right? I darken in. Then I deepen a number 2. So while I'm darkening, when it goes towards the end, I deepen that number 2. So you still have a little bit of that dark. Go number 2, going, whatever I need to do, and then from there, I don't rinse them in the water. I go number 3, then number 4, and then from lighten up, I go from number 4 to water, and more water, and more water, and more water. And I go in different area. I let down bleed out for 10-15 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back, and then I'm gonna go with dark, wherever the dark part I need to go, and then repeat a little bit of the darkest point, and go in between. So from that one I go to this, so I go with black. Let's say for instance, I go into black to number 1, to do the transition number 1, just kind of a little bit, but I don't have to go to the last sessions I done because already they're super light. So that's the technique I'll use. Some people go, what they do, it's different techniques, right? Good question, actually. Thanks you for asking me this. You have let's go on this section here. All right. So, you have a face here, nose here, and then you have coming from here, right? That's the darkest point here. So you have dark, and that's because you have dark here. So what do? Some people do this, right? You may go with the lighter ink to break it here. Just kind of break it here with the lighter ink. So then you go to dark here, and then you go from, again, dark to light. Or you can break, pretty much, you still have to give a little bit light here, then you break the whole area. Sometimes you can use the whole magnum only to break the area. What happens is when you break the area, your skin, you break the area super fast, let it bleed out for 2, 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So basically what you do, when you break up the skin and let it bleed out, the skin start closing and it sucks the ink in, right? Now when you start something very fresh and you just go straight with the colors, because the ink start bleeding out, it pushes. You don't have that kind of the true colors and the effects with the inks. Some people come with the big magnum, just kind of whip it really, really fast, so kind of breaks the whole skin, it bleeds out, and then you go back in. That's why you have to go a little bit shading here, so don't lose your stencil. Then you go back in and you start doing darks. So then the true colors, the skin doesn't bleed, and then it starts closing, basically, start healing, it start closing, and then the ink just gets sucked in. And then this takes a lot more true colors, and it's less work, and it's less trauma. Now, that's all techniques. Depends whether you work on it, depends on the size, and depends how you used to work. This, again, you work from light to dark, dark to light. I see people doing portraits. Who does that? My DeVries, I think. He starts from here, man. He starts from the eyes going out. So you start from the middle and you go out and out and out. Which, I'll be afraid to lose my stencil the way I make them, but some people work, they know how they're doing, you know? All right. Checo MDS. Hi, Chris, I'm from Antonio. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right. Okay, how to create the gray with rose water? How much ink and water use dynamic? I think the rose water, it's basically what it is. Listen, I know you can get it at the chemist. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but you just use the rose water as an add-on. You don't need to put any water then. Again, don't forget, when you use a cup, even if it's water, you need only a little bit. I think you just use that water as a glycerin, or as some people actually use glycerin. So rose water, you just put few drops, you know, because in the end the bottle, I think it's like a long bottle, it says rose water on it. Just that one. Don't take my word for it 100%. I'm just know how people work. I never work with that one, so I cannot say exactly, but I know people use rose water and they say that's really smooth. That's a secret, they say, or say, okay, I'm gonna let it out. But it's not really a secret. If you work in other studios, you see people working with different techniques, and that's why whatever I'm trying to teach you guys, it's only stuff I've been through working in other studios, and not necessarily I did work with it. Again, I didn't work with the last technique. Joe Perlman works with that, and I don't have a clue. I was scratching my head, how can you remember that? But it says I've been working all my life. That's the guy, he teach him how to tattoo. That's how it works, and that's for him is comfortable. He's not comfortable using the grays. Again, I don't know. Let me see my technique work. It's still drying up. It's still drying up because I want to show what I mean here. Let me see if I. All right. I don't know if you can see much, but I don't know. Okay, when you let down dry, so over here start drying out, like that part here. You see that part here? That part here, that's actually how light it is. I don't know if the camera shows everything. Let me see. Let me put it on color for a second. Sorry about guys. Saturation. Let me go back to normal. All right. Let me see if I can zoom all the way in. All right, yeah, I can see it, cool. But not that much, man, not that much, not that much, not that much. You see that area here? So basically this one still has to heal. It still has to heal, Jesus Christ. It still has to dry because now it's gonna start showing you the true color. This is the true gray. And this one is darker here. That's darker, and this one is pitch black. Okay, let's see, let's push it right in front of the camera here. So that'll be pitch black. The second one is the lining. The third one is number 1. That's number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now, as I said, as it dries, you're gonna see the actually true color of what it is. Like that black, you see how black it is? That shit didn't split at all. That's actually pitch black. Now, to me, the lining is not as black as that one, but it's still drying up. So when this one is actually super dry, we're gonna see all right, I'm back here. Hold on a second. Let me put this one on the window. Hopefully it dries faster because I want to show by the end of the session how it's gonna show the true colors. All right, perfect. So I put down on the window. It looks like a peace flag. Peace flag. It looks like a flag. I should have done that one after I done it, but I thought it's gonna heal. I'm trying to see if I can see on this one actually a little bit the grays, but not that much. Anyway, but that's a trick when you know. Even if you do that trick, what happens is even if you get a set of inks, do that and let it dry overnight. And then you'll see next day the pure tones of those things. So you know exactly how actually light they are. You'll see how black and how light they get. So when they heal, because when they're alive, when they're fresh, they're actually darker than when it heals. So the same thing, when down it dries is going to show the pure tones. And then you see how the darker it is and how light, let's say number 4, how light it gets. That's the whole thing. That's a trick. That's a nice trick when you want to know your inks, or if you pre-mix them. That's the technique. Like even if you start doing the number 2 and you start pre-mixing them, that's exactly the technique you're gonna see. Like let's say for instance you want your darkest shading, and you don't know if you should put 15 drops or 20 drops, and that's gonna be your habit from then. That's the technique to find out how light or dark that one it is. All right. How's everybody doing? Let me see. Let me read. Well, when it comes to black and gray, this is the black and gray. This is the black and gray thing. Again, don't forget black and gray in general. You can even call it black and gray, the gray actually inks, the gray inks you mix with white. And I would say that's the real black and gray because actually it's a gray ink. This is just lighter black, I suppose. I don't even know if it's gray. It's just lighter shading of black, I guess. So the gray inks, that's why when you mix them, this is actually a very good example. When you mix your white with black, that's exactly the same thing. If you put 1 drop of black and white on a cup of white, or you put half and half, or you have black and you put only 1 drop of white or 2 drops of white in the black, then you see that's pretty much is the reverse, but with colors like black, white, and ink white. But it's pretty much. Do some experience at home, man. Do some experience. You're gonna understand a lot more. But that's why I didn't talk about that on the black and white mix, because it goes into color theory. because that has to be approached. This one is one way to tattoo with these things. They're fast things. They're the fastest things. The easiest thing to work with, black and gray. When it comes to colors, it's different techniques. Like when you work with that kind of black and gray, it's a different technique to actually do work with how do you push in the skin. It's a color ink. It's actually colored. That one works to do it very fast. When you go coloring and you try to just fast, you don't got shit because it doesn't stay. You need to go slow and deep, you know? All right, thank you, sir. Awesome, Alexander, Igor, Inkar, welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Igor. Have used distilled water, witch hazel, or glycerin to water down inks. Old school UK used to use Listerine mouthwash. Yes. There you go, bro, Rico. Yes. Distilled water, that's very important. That's why I always say don't use tap water, man. Distilled water is very important. Witch hazel is really good actually. That's the same thing. It gives like a rose water, it gives you that creamy effect. And the Listerine mouthwash, they do use that. And again, you have to understand all these things that thin it up, they have alcohol inside. What makes it the powder to kind of stay in their own place. So all this thing has actually a little bit of alcohol, 0.5, 0.4, 4% alcohol on the thing. And that's why they do. When you want to make your own, some people actually use oils, believe me or not, like essential oils. You put like a drop of it, and then you put alcohol on it, and then you put distilled water, and then you put something else, and then you mix it, and then it's your own mix. People experiment with a lot of stuff, and I've seen it all, and it's nothing right or wrong as long as it works for you. But that's what I'm saying, the rose water is just, already has alcohol. It's like a perfume, I think. It has, I don't even know what's for use for. I think it's used for clothes, for perfume. So it has like 3-4% alcohol, because the whole point is, okay, with distilled water, it's only water. It's strong. People, if you go to the chemist, you can buy strong water. It's called strong water. I think it takes everything out. I used to buy a gallon of it. It's called strong. Actually, no, like a bottle. It's expensive, but it's strong. It's called strong water. It takes everything out of it. It puts different stuff. That's the purest water of. It's used for medical purposes. Anyway, that one is really good for mixing. When you put like normal water or things, it still works. Don't get me wrong, but it's. If you an expert of, let's say, tattooing black and gray, anything works. Trust me on that one. If you work on layers and sessions, everything works. But when you want to, some people swear by all these other techniques because it does get smoother. The inks, they break nicer. So when you put extra stuff, they get smoother, like, because they made with powder. All this, every inks they have actually made from powder. So that powder when it started, that's why you see some inks, they super smooth transition. And some of them, they have, it's not like choppier, it's blockier somehow. You can see the granulated under the skin. It's hard to explain, but if you pay attention, you see something which is very smooth. I'm talking like light black and gray, and then you see like choppier. I remember I used to work with the drawing ink, the Indian ink, which, man, it's fucking amazing ink. So that ink, I used that ink for so many years, man. I think people still use it, and I don't blame them because it's phenomenal. That ink is phenomenal. Now, for using for black, it gets bluish. Right? That's why people used to use Pelican, and I think they still use it. And so you have the Pelican, they use it for black, and you boil it down, so you cut in half. So you boil it down until it gets half, and the people swear it's the darkest black out there, which again, everybody swears those days about everything. And then you use the Indian ink for shading. Now, Indian ink gets a little bit bluish after a while. It's still a cool effect. But that ink was nice, man. When I used to work with it, I don't even work with it anymore because, again, I work with this stuff. But that, to me, that was my favorite, the Indian ink. That was my favorite, smooth. But even that one, what I'm trying to say, I looked back at tattoos I done 10 years ago, and I look back at them, and you can see still that granulate thing because it's not smooth. It's not creamy. I don't know. It's just, something is missing. Something is missing. And I guess all these inks now, they have this glycerin things formula inside of them, which they make them creamier and more. The ink settles down on the skin equally instead of just goes and blocks or. Okay, Anton Helen, I use Radiant. I have Portugal and set primary very good and vibrant. Love the red. Man, the inks are really good. Actually, with the Radiant, I'm not just talking about them because trust me, again, I work with stuff that works for me. I don't give a fuck about any inks out there as long as it works for me. I don't care about the brand. I don't care about what's the best, what's the worst, because I don't know if it's what's best or worst. It's what works for you. And because I work with these things for so many years, I know the inks. I know how they heal. I seen them heal after 5 years. I worked with them for the last 8 years, to be precise. So 8 years, I seen tattoos that don't, and they look phenomenally. But it took me a while to learn how to push them on the skin, because everything has a technique. You have to learn how to push them in. What the speed of the machine, or you know. All right, hold on. Rodrigo, which hazer is an accident to reduce some redness to glycerin can be mixed as well to thickness the consistency. There you go. Thank you, sir. There you go. Rodrigo, Pelican drawing black boiled, but also old school trick. Yeah, Pelican and was Pelican. Sorry, yes, that was the Pelican. You had the Pelican and the Indian. No, was dynamic. Hold on a second. No, the Pelican. You are right. You are right, Rodrigo. Yeah, it was Pelican. Pelican. They used to boil it down half to make it really dark. Really. So Pelican is another. You have the Indian ink, and I have the Pelican. There was all drawing inks, right? Industrial drawing inks, whatever. So the Pelican was the one, and people still use it, man. Just boil it down to half, and it gets really thick. But that's a really amazing, stupid, fucking good black. I never worked with it. Bob Tyler used to work with all of them. I think what happens those days, those inks now. Well, I'm talking. This is old school stuff. I'm talking back in the time there weren't so many great inks, and now they just down to a point, man. I think the inks pre-made, whatever it is, they already clean, they're good, they're. You just need to work with them and just keep up with us. If you buy sets, just work with them and see what works for you. Or if you mix your own, whatever the fuck it is, make sure you're consistent all the time. But the inks are they're good. You don't need all this, the old school inks, Indian ink and this and that, and you know. All right, cool. So I think we covered the black and gray to a point. Hold on, let me see my drawing thing. Now I'm gonna close it down. I'm gonna get fucked up. It's kind of chill out there, so I'm not gonna go swimming. I can't even go fishing, but I'm gonna set up. Oh, by the way, I got this printer. Somebody has asked me about my stencil, the video I done with the eye. I had a blue stencil and it's super detailed, so I got a printer with all the ink set. I'm gonna make actually a video. I'm gonna film it how I set up, and that's gonna be a video. But I'm gonna set up the printer and to see how that one works for doing the stencil. That's different. That's new level, man. Apparently it's out only for 1 year now, so you have to get the Eco printer with the tanks, and then I order online, and it's pretty expensive setup. But I order online the papers and the tattoo ink. And then you fill up every single cartridge with, instead of put the normal colors, you put every single cartridge that ink, and then you print up the whole stencil phenomenally, fantastic and perfect. Somebody asked me what printer I use. When I travel, I use my brother one. Until now, actually, I use my brother one for stencil, but if I get this printer running, and I'm gonna use that one for home, for local tattooing, I'm gonna use that because it's a big printer, actually. It's a big printer. The whole setup cost me $500 about. I don't know how much is in euro and pounds, but it's worth it because you get out of it a lot of, and you print on normal paper or different types of paper. It doesn't have to be the carbon paper they use for printing, which is a lot of fucking money. And you save a lot of time. So basically, you can do a stencil or you just Photoshop and print it up straight up, and it stays exactly the same. Every single detail, every video portrait, it shows you the whole portrait, which is phenomenal. I used it only once when I done that eye, and every detail is there, man. So I'm looking forward to use it and setting up and all the stuff. But all said, that's gonna be a video. I'm gonna make a video about it. Keep an eye on my YouTube channel for the next few days. When I was to New York, actually, I did film this interview with Rafa. He's the manager at the House of Monk and the apprentice. So I have a managing interview, how he manages shop, and then I have an apprentice interview, how he's apprentice to, Lalo apprenticed him. So so I'm gonna have 2 videos coming up about apprenticeship, what it takes to, how it is, what it needs to, managing a shop, what it needs to, how it takes, whatever, all the stuff. I tried to do an interview with Lalo. I was busy. He was busy. We ended up not doing so. One of those things. He gave me a hug though, but I didn't have time to actually do a full interview with him. Unfortunately, Melody, all the people there, there's a lot of artists. Next time I go down there, it's gonna be next month. I'm gonna actually do an interview. I'm gonna start focusing on doing interviews, whatever shops I'm gonna work at, and then show their life or the techniques they work, how they work, and you know, stuff like that. But that's coming up. That's coming up. I'm just being lazy. I'm not strong enough to start focusing on this. I got my music studio going on, so I'm focusing on music. Check this. Coming up, I'm just being lazy. I'm not strong enough to start focusing on this. So that was my keyboard stuff here, and yeah, I want to focus on making some music for my own mental health. I think I need something to not. I need something to increase my potential of doing nothing but doing something. So that's my new thing. I ordered a TV monitor because I don't have a TV, so I'm gonna be able to do actually some tutorials, show you guys how I work my Photoshop, explain to you while you can see the screen what's happening, how I work, how the stencil work, and all the stuff. And now that everything is set up in my studio, I'm gonna start doing hands down. So all these things that are tutorials. I'm gonna have the color theory one, and then I'm gonna have Photoshop stuff, and then I have to start doing the hands down tattooing. I explained to you guys everything I went to, all these tutorials. I'm gonna put them on practice on tattooing fake skin, show you guys how it works. Then it's gonna be like long days while we're gonna actually start tattoo. While I'm tattooing, I can answer questions. I can explain how everything we worked so far and all these theories. For if you watch the other videos, I'm gonna be putting down in practice, and that's gonna be amazing. And what else? Let me see if that stuff here. 1 second. All right. It starts drying more. But the light is stupid. Let me see if I can take the shininess out of it. You stupid Chris. Let me see. All right, kind of you can see. So that's pitch black. That was the lining. That was the shading, number 1, which I don't even know, it looks darker to me than the lining. And then you have number 3, 2, and 1. But basically that's the one that's dry right there. And that's the actually light it gets. You see from this dark, when it's still wet, it gets to that light. So it does actually lighten up a lot. All right, hold on, we have more here. That's the back of it. So you can see different types of shading. The light probably is not the best for this stuff. How much? So you can see the fucking light, man. Can't work on this. But yeah, you can see the difference of how they do heal. They do dry up. It's still wet actually, so it's not fully dry. But you can, hold on a second. Let me see if I, there you go. You can see now the shadings, the transition on them. But that's here, you see that's how light that one got? That's when it, so that one comparing to this, you see the difference? And that one to that one to that. So this is like 4, 3, 2, no, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, the shadings. Black, pitch black, and the lining. It kind of shows you guys how the inks, you can try your inks you have, you can try them to know exactly, to kind of get an idea. But the best thing is to leave it overnight. Overnight it just gets pure dry, and you'll see exactly how much when they heal, how much actually the pure tone of the color, not when they fresh, you know. Cool. All right. All right. Let me see. Okay, Rodrigo, I have never. Anthony Hernigman, the conversation from someone with your skill is priceless. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Anthony. Rodrigo inject stencils are the next level, but not so portable. That's the thing, man. With the stencil with them, they're not portable. But if you have a studio, that's the details with those stuff. I'm telling you, that's why guys. When I left the studio, I just actually asked Rafa, so yo, just give me all the details I'm gonna buy them. And I bought them because I know it saves time, money. Basically, time is money, but it saves money how much you print out of them and time. I can do a stencil in 10 minutes instead to spend 5 hours, and that's important, man. That's important. Or when you have a client waiting for you, you need to print out instead to just start fucking around and spend another 2 hours. Think about it. If you're gonna studio that makes a lot of money or you fast, you don't want to spend 2-3 hours extra. You can work those 2-3 hours and make the money, you know. Yes, inject stencil. Live session with question and answer will be dope. Can't wait. I can do one. I can do question and answers. That'll be actually amazing. But always, if you have questions, I always answer. But I'm gonna do actually a session where you can ask whatever the fuck you want, and I answer whatever the fuck I want. Simple like that. I'll try the ink set for Alien Think. You should try it, bro. I'm telling you, it works for me. Check out. It does work for me. Otherwise, I would be talking. But again, I've been working with them for so many years, and it just works perfect for me, you know. Live sessions, can't wait. Thank you so much, guys. Pleasure. Thank you. And slow the fuck down when you're tattooing, because it's important to pay attention to the details and what you're doing. That's only one way to learn. And doing fast tattoos doesn't mean they're good. Very important to slow down and just try to get better every day. That's the only one way to get better. I'm trying to do a live session tomorrow. Probably it's going to be color theory. It took me a while to go back into doing all these live sessions mentally. I don't know, I just came back from New York and I was so depressed after all that shit there. But anyway, we back on. And I try to keep this stuff every day, man. I'm trying to go back into doing it every day. Something to talk about every day. Every day is good to talk about it. Cool, guys. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed. Any questions, drop a line after I finish with this. You can drop a line, ask questions, and I will answer you. And tomorrow, actually, I have to get ready tonight to do the raffle session. Raffle. We need a raffle going on. Because I have the Cheyenne machine coming out for a raffle, and the inks and t-shirts. Oh, myself as a presenter. Cool, guys. Thank you so fucking much, and I'll hope tomorrow, let's see tomorrow to do another live session. I try to keep them every day rolling, because that's how we do. What you can do, just like the videos. We're all good. Thank you so much. Peace, bro. Cheers, Alexander. Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and see you mañana. It's always better than today.